Okay, if it helps, put that dotted line where the equal sign is to help you locate whatever you do to one side, you have to do it to the other. Okay, so I get my 3/5 x equals 16 plus 11. It's 27. What's the easiest way to get rid of a fractional coefficient? Because that's what the 3/5 is. Yeah, you're dividing by 3/5, which also, when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by its reciprocal. Yeah, so you're just going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal. Yeah, I mean, you should be able to do it in your head. These all cancel the 1, and 1 times x is x. 3 goes into 27, 9 times 5 is 45. Now, if you're having problems multiplying fractions and simplifying, use your calculators, right? Your calculators. 27. Now, always put your fractions in parentheses. 5 divided by 3. I get 45. Yeah, you can do that too. Yep, however you want to do it. Yes, that's fine. You're just working with bigger numbers. Okay, questions, comments, concerns? I have x by itself, I'm done. I do have a few extras if you want one. Anybody else? Why don't you give one to one to Dewey and take an extra one over there. Huh? It's called Algebra 1 Post-Test Review number 1. Now, normally, yes, Joey. How do I get what? 27 times 5/3 is 45. Put it in the calculator, Joey. 27 times 5/3. Make sure you put fractions in parentheses. Okay. We have 2 parts to the final. Normally, we would be taking part 1 this week, but we still might. We might be doing it Friday. We'll see. Or Thursday. Huh? No. It's just.
Friday would be a normal day.
Yeah, it's a smaller part of the final, but we might just do that in class this week. And then your regular final on the day of the final.
So wait, is it going to be the ones we're going to be doing this week at right more, or is it going to be
I think it's. Is it both, or is it? I got to look it up. I can't remember offhand. They're doing something different in geometry this year. I'm not sure what's going on with them. Let's look at number 6. Now, we did spend an awful lot of time on fractions. I think it was way back in unit 1.4, 1.5. Well, first of all, let's put our line here. Okay? There's a couple of different ways that I had you guys do this. The easiest way was finding a common denominator, a number that all of these denominators multiply into. Okay? Usually you can get that if you multiply all, in this case it's 3, because I got 3, 4, and 2. You could just multiply all those together and work with a common denominator. Okay. Personally, I like, well, it would be 24. I personally like the lowest common denominator, which is 12. Okay. That's my lowest common denominator. Now, you could use 3 times 4 is 12, times 2 is 24. You can use 24. That's fine. It's just you're going to be working with a little bit bigger numbers. My LCD, my lowest common denominator is 12. Okay? So I'm going to use 12. I'm going to multiply each one of these terms by 12. And what that does, when you multiply by a common denominator, whether it's 24 or 12, it's going to wipe out your fractions and just leave you with whole numbers. Right? Now, I'm going to put my 12 up here. 12, 12, and 12. If you want, you could do this with your calculator. Okay, take 2/3. This is going to be an x. Take 2/3 times 12. Again, some of us can do this in our heads. 12. And if you do it in the Wells way, 12 times 2 is 24, divided by 3 is 8. Or you could do 12 divided by 3 is 4 times 2 is 8. Minus 12 times 3 is 36, divided by 4 is 9. 12 times 1 is 12, divided by 4 is 3. This one has the x. 12 times 3 is 36, divided by 2, 18. Now I've got whole numbers to deal with. Makes life easier. Yeah, it's probably the thing to do. Add 9. I'm going to get the 3x over here. Subtract 3x. I get 5x minus 9 equals 18. Add 9 to both sides. So I get 5x equals 27. And I got to get x by itself, so divide each side by the coefficient 5. So I get x. I would prefer that you leave it in fractions, 27/5. But it's going to be 5 point something. 5.4. Either way, I don't care. So number 6 is pretty involved. Yes, you could. But it depends, too, if it's multiple choice, whether they give you the 27/5 or the 5.4. Number 1? There's a couple of different ways you could do number 1. You can make that 9 a fraction, right? 9 over 1. Now you have a proportion. You can do cross multiplication. You could also, you could get rid of that 5, right? You can multiply both sides by the denominator, 5 or 5 over 1. 5's cancel. I have my x plus 2. 9 times 5, 45. Subtract 2 from both sides. I get x equals 43. How about number 5? This one is a proportion. How am I going to solve it? I have a ratio times a ratio, that's a proportion. Cross multiply, right? Make sure this is in parentheses. So I have 2 times n, and then I have 4 times n plus 4. So I have 2n equals, distribute the 4n plus 16, 4 times 4. I only have the one constant number, so I think I'll subtract 4n. Normally I would like to keep my variables positive, but this might be easier this way. And divide both sides by the coefficient, -2. So n equals 16 divided by -2, -8. Number 7. There's a couple of things we can do. Normally, whenever you see a fraction, I tell you guys, get rid of the fractions. This one probably might be a little easier just to go ahead and distribute that 1/2. Okay. Let's try it. Let's distribute the first one, the left-hand side. 6x plus 9. Now, the reason why I say you might be better off to distribute that 1/2 is because you have even numbers over here. You know, for the past month, you two, Esco and Dewey, you guys have been complaining about your grades the most, especially you, Esco. And right now, we're reviewing for the final, which is 20% of your grade, and you're still playing with your phone right now. Half of 8 is what? 4x. Half of 6? 3. That works out pretty well. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. Get 2x plus 9. I get 3. Subtract 9. I get -6. And then divide by the coefficient 2. Good. Actually, one under, right beneath it too is kind of, you gotta distribute on both sides of the equation, what we just did. So it's the same type of problem.
Yeah, but you have to instead of 1/2.
Hmm?
You have to instead of fractions.
Yeah, you don't even have to deal with fractions. Number 11 is a It's a simple inequality, linear inequality. It's the same thing as an equation. Just watch out because it's an inequality. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, flip that sign. Okay. It's not going to happen in this problem, but I get x divided by 5 less than 10. Multiply both sides by the denominator, 5. So x is less than 50. Good. That's my inequality statement. How would I graph this? If they told us to graph it. Nah, skip it. Okay, here's 50. Open or close circle?
Open.
Open. Which way is it going to go? Yeah, to the left. Number 12, we actually have absolute values. What do we do? How do we drop the absolute value symbols? Yeah, first we have to divide by 6 because you have to get the absolute values by themselves. Good. Divide both sides by 6. So the absolute value of x plus 1 equals 30 divided by 6, 5. Okay. So now, how do I drop the absolute value symbols? Remember what absolute value is, right? It's the distance from 0. Yeah, we have to consider both instances, whether we're talking about 5 or negative 5. Okay, it's the distance from 0. So yeah, x plus 1 is going to equal 5, or x plus 1 is going to equal negative 5. Because if we go 5 units either way from 0, we get 5 and negative 5. So we add 1 to both sides. I'm sorry, subtract 1. So I get x equals 4. Now it doesn't matter whether you use and or in this particular problem because it's an equation. I'm just going to use or. Subtract 1, subtract 1. Negative 6. Okay. You actually have a question like this on the final. Number 13. Says, explain 2 different ways to correctly solve the equation 2/5 x equals 20. Multiply by 5, then divide by 2, right? Okay, that's one way. And what was the shortcut way I told you guys to do? Multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, there's 2 different ways to solve that. 14, we haven't dealt with area all that much. We did a lot with perimeters. How do I find the area of a rectangle? Yeah, base times height, length times width, however you want to explain it. So in this one, to find the area, it's going to be 2 times x plus 1. And to find the area here, it's going to be 3 times x minus 4. If I want them to be the same, what symbol am I going to put in there? Equal. And then they want you to solve. Distribute. Two x plus 2 equals 3x minus 4. Subtract 2x. So I get 2 equals x minus 4. Then I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So what does x equal? In both 15 and 16, supplementary angles, linear pair, what do they equal? 180. So I'm going to add those up. And then solve for x. Combine like terms. I get 13x. 35 minus 14. 21. Subtract 21. Should be 59, right? Does that divide evenly by 13? Should be, did I do it wrong? No. Yeah, I'm getting the decimal. 12.2. Then it's asking for the measure of angle ABC. ABC is 7x plus 35. Substitute in 12.2 for x. I get 120.6. $16, you're going to add up all the angles and set them equal to what? 180. Yep, you guys can do that on your own. 17, find the sales tax of an item that costs $55 and has 8.25% sales tax. Round the appropriate. This is the one that tripped me up the other day. So my percent is 8.25 over 100. Item that costs $55, that's my total. And there's my x. Cross multiply and solve. So yeah, 55 times 8.25 divided by 100. $4.54 is my tax. Yeah, 4.54. Okay, you guys should finish pages 1 and 2 with the time you have left. Questions, comments, concerns? Yes, I have an answer sheet. No, I don't have it with me. I will bring it tomorrow.